It seems like there is a movement toward more natural medicines, and it's not doctor prescribed. Is Big Pharma secretly promoting them, or do they not want us to take them? I'm talking adaptogens and nootropics. Follow me down the rabbit hole to learn more. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. I'm your host, Danny, and today we are talking about adaptogens and nootropics. This is, I think, maybe going to be a part of a series, not back to back to back, like sometimes I do series, but part of like this more natural living series that I've been kind of on. I've been on this journey myself, like on my own time, about like the food industry and healing my body more naturally and the things that I should be feeding my children, because that's been a huge concern in my life. So I have been kind of doing this on my own. I've been listening to the Ultimate Human podcast by Gary Brecka and kind of like just going down this biohack, more natural living type mindset. And I wonder a little bit if it's because I do conspiracy theories and I'm like, oh, the food industry is trying to kill us. And so maybe that's where it started. But I know that I have mentioned a couple things in a couple episodes that I was like a guest on. So I was a guest on the Daily Conspiracy podcast. I talked about it a little bit over there. So I thought I would do a deep dive into adaptogens and nootropics first, and then we'll kind of just go down. I have a processed foods episode I want to do, and like GMOs versus organic, all these different things. I want to do something about glyphosate and like the wheat and the pesticides, all that. I want to kind of cover all of it, but we're going to start here and we're going to move through all of those things together. If you want to watch this episode, you can on YouTube and Rumble. I feel like I forget to promote myself a little bit. So there's merchandise in the show notes. You can click on the merch link and you can join Patreon. I have many episodes coming soon, like really soon. Like I was working on one this morning soon. But anyway, so I'm working on my sleep, my grounding, things like that. We're talking kind of more supplements. I've been taking different supplements. So here we go. This does seem to be a huge topic of discussion right now, so let's kind of dive into it. Adaptogens and nootropics are usually grouped together, but what are they? According to UCLA, adaptogens are herbs, roots, and other plant substances like mushrooms that help our bodies manage stress and restore balance after a stressful situation. They are taken as herbal supplements in capsule form, made into teas or a powder that is added to soups, smoothies, and other foods. I mean, think like coffee. This is happening in coffees all the time right now. Nootropics are substances that enhance cognitive functions like memory, focus, mood, creativity, and overall brain health. They include natural compounds like herbs and nutrients, as well as synthetic substances designed to improve brain performance. The natural nootropics are usually adaptogens, which is why they are typically grouped together. Adaptogens help bring your body back to a balanced state after a stressful situation. And let's be honest, like who isn't stressed these days? And that's why so many people have turned to them recently. Adaptogens interact with the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, which is the main stress response system in the body. HPA axis is the neuroendocrine link between perceived stress and physiological reactions to stress. While some stress is necessary for healthy development and aging, when an individual exists in a chronic state of stress, their ability to cope is compromised by dysregulation of HPA axis and other peripheral physiological functions. Chronic stress puts you at a higher risk for many health problems, including anxiety, depression, digestive problems, because they say that the gut is the second brain. And actually, most of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that. Headaches, muscle tension and pain, heart disease, heart attack, high blood pressure, and stroke, sleep problems, weight gain, and problems with memory and focus. However, not all herbs work as adaptogens. To be considered an adaptogen, an herb or plant substance must be non-toxic at normal doses, support the entire body's ability to cope with stress, and help the body return to a stable state. There are many herbs and mushrooms that qualify as adaptogens. Some common ones are ashwagandha, which is shown to help reduce anxiety and depression. Ginseng, which has helped to combat fatigue. It can be either American or Asian ginseng. Reishi, used to boost the immune system and fight cancer. Rhodiola, to reduce fatigue, depression, and pain. Schisandra, for improved concentration, coordination, and endurance. Tulsi, also known as holy basil, is used to increase focus, decrease anxiety, and boost the immune system. Nootropics are often referred to as smart drugs. These brain supplements, also known as cognitive enhancers, can be natural, semi-synthetic, and synthetic compounds. Like I said earlier, they are designed to enhance human cognition, learning, and memory. And they work best when these functions have been compromised. So if your cognition, learning, and memory are fine, you might not notice a difference. There are many types of nootropics, but the top 10 nootropics for enhanced focus and cognitive performance are citicoline, CDP-choline, phosphatidylserine, or PS, from sunflower lecithin, Bacopa monnieri, organic lion's mane mushroom, maritime pine bark extract, N-acetyltyrosine, L-theanine, rhodiola rosea, and then other vitamins and caffeine. So vitamins like B6, B9, and B12, and then caffeine. The term nootropic was first used around 1972 by a Romanian psychologist and chemist, Dr. Corneliu Gheorghe. He was the first to define nootropics. He used 6 criteria to qualify a substance as a true nootropic. 1, enhancement of memory and learning. 2, improved cognition under stress. 3, protection of brain cells. 4, facilitation of cell-to-cell communication. 5, backed by human research demonstrating brain bioactivity. 6, absence of usual pharmacological effects of psychotropic drugs. Psychotropic drugs include antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, and opioids, just to name a couple of them, just so you have an idea. By the strictest definition, only a handful of true nootropics exist. However, today they don't go by the strictest definition. So if a supplement helps boost brain function in any way, it is considered a nootropic. There are over 80 of them now. Adaptogens are a subcategory of nootropics. They are natural nootropics instead of synthetic, which can also be considered. Rhodiola being one of the best adaptogen nootropics. Before we get into the conspiracies, because there are some that are for and against adaptogens and nootropics, I have to tell you, I have been taking them. And that's kind of where we started, right? Like I said, I have been on a health journey of my own and have been trying different things to help me focus on my podcast and on my research and really dive into the things that I'm explaining to you guys. So this worked out because Magic Mind actually reached out to me and sent me some of their shots to try before they decided to sponsor my podcast. And I liked this idea because it's a mental performance shot instead of a pill. I don't do well with pills since being pregnant. And I have talked about my mushroom usage on different podcasts, but this one I don't have to replace my coffee with or add it into my coffee, which was kind of my issue with the other mushrooms I tried. I like my coffee how it is, although I don't really drink it for the caffeine, just really for the taste, but I like my coffee how it is, so don't really mess with it. So I tried these shots for 7 days and I noticed just in that week alone that I could focus way better. By day 3, I was thinking clearer. By day 7, I could recall my older episodes faster without needing to look up my notes, which slows me way down and takes time instead of me finding new information for you guys. But also I was sleeping better at night and waking up less anxious. And this allowed me to get right in the groove of researching, which led to the 3 great Vatican episodes. The Magic Mind shot has nootropics and adaptogens, plus over 100% of our daily vitamin C and D per bottle. And I just found out from a podcast that I was listening to that most of us are walking around with subclinical scurvy. So basically, we are all vitamin C deficient. It also eases my mind that the mushrooms are organically grown. I'm trying to do as much organic things in my life as possible, so that was a huge plus. Because they reached out, they also gave me a code for all of you if you want to try it. So the code RabbitHole20 will get you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off one-time purchases. I'll put the link in the show notes, but you can go to magicmind.com/rabbithole20 if you want to check out their shots. But let's get into conspiracies because some of them might surprise you. So supplements are not as highly regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. So dietary supplement oversight is coordinated by the Human Foods Program's Office of Food Chemical Safety, Dietary Supplements and Innovation, which is quite the mouthful. The regulations aren't as high because there hasn't been as much research into supplements. So this brings us to some questions like, are the pharmaceutical companies responsible for the lack of research? If these more natural options are helping with focus, brain fog, energy, and stress, and more people turn to them, that could mean less money for Big Pharma, especially because the nootropic supplement market by itself is set to reach $8.2 million by 2032. These supplements could threaten the antidepressant and ADHD medication markets, which are huge markets. And this leads to the belief that Big Pharma lobbies to keep these substances understudied or banned to maintain market dominance with their synthetic medications. And this could also be why the FDA doesn't regulate them as much. If they regulated them better, they would have to study them more and back them up. Big Pharma would never let that happen because they run the FDA. Or at least they lobby the people in the FDA to get their drugs approved faster. I mean, we're not going down that rabbit hole today. But what if Big Pharma is the one behind the promotion of nootropics, right? Like this is a kind of a switch. Like I said, we have conspiracies going both ways. So some are for them, some are against them. What if nootropics and adaptogens are secretly promoted by governments, corporations, or shadowy organizations to manipulate cognitive function, pacify populations, or enhance compliance? This theory specifically points to ashwagandha and L-theanine, dulling critical thinking and making people more susceptible to propaganda. When you think of people that are looking for alternatives to mainstream options, they are people that are going against the mainstream thinking. So if they can get those people more susceptible to propaganda, then they will fall in line like the rest of the people already have. And this theory does have a little bit of evidence. Like, why are they pushing these remedies on social media so hard? It feels like every time you're like swiping through TikTok or Instagram or wherever, you're gonna get an ad for these types of supplements. And most people are learning about these supplements on social media. When you look up nootropics and adaptogens, some of the websites include UCLA and the Mayo Clinic. And these places are literally run by Big Pharma, which kind of brought up some questions for me because nootropics, right, when they were first introduced, they had 6 strict standards and only a couple of them were considered true. Well, now they're like, throw out those standards. Don't worry about those. Anything that helps with brain cognition. Well, that could be a lot of things. And so that's where it's like, they're just, where the regulations would come in is that you would want higher regulations for some things to make sure that you're getting true quality nootropics or adaptogens or whatever you're looking for. But the regulations say you can put whatever you want on the labels. But along these same lines, but a bit different, is that adaptogens are a hoax altogether. It's not the pharmaceutical industry that's the problem, but the health and wellness industry trying to exploit health-conscious consumers. And we've seen this a lot too. So they don't get out of this scot-free. Like, what if ashwagandha, rhodiola, and reishi mushrooms have no real effects? Like, it's all a placebo? They are marketed as like these cure-alls to profit from hype with exaggerated claims about stress, relief, or cognitive enhancement. I mean, the health and wellness market is a $1 trillion market. And in 2024, the global wellness market reached $1.8 trillion. People are always jumping on fads. The easiest and most exciting new things to like lose weight or make you like more functioning. All these things. People have stress. People have brain fog. People have all these issues that are like in their brains that are looking for a way to fix it. Of course, we don't look at our food, which is causing the brain fog and causing the weight gain and all the weird things that are happening in our bodies. We just think, oh, well, let's take this natural remedy to fix it. But what if that natural remedy is literally just like snake oil? I mean, the ashwagandha sales in natural stores exceeded $10 million. That's up 25% since 2016. We're seeing beverages with adaptogens in them. We see mixes, supplements. Everything seems to be leaning that way. But there is another theory that adaptogens and nootropics are actually laced with harmful substances. They might be making us sicker. By continuing to take them, we just get worse until we eventually go to the doctor where they prescribe some pharmaceutical drug. This way, it's a win-win. The health and wellness industry gets our money, and then Big Pharma gets our money because the health and wellness industry is like, take this, it's going to make you better, it's going to make you better. All along, it's making us a little sicker. Big Pharma is like, cool, keep taking that. That's why we're pushing it, because eventually you're going to get so sick that you're going to come to us, and we're going to prescribe you a bunch of drugs, and we're going to get you on the back end. And probably the whole time you don't realize that it's these adaptogens and nootropics that aren't regulated that are making you sick. So you're going to keep taking those. So health and wellness still gets more money. And then you're going to keep going to the doctor because something's wrong with you and you're sick. And so they're going to keep getting your money. And it's just a lose-lose situation. And it's all about money and power. I think my biggest concern about these things is that the regulations are really low and the fact that they threw out these strict terms. And this theory gets deep because it could all be part of the depopulation agenda by the globalist groups. Like, whatever harmful substance they are putting in these supplements could be causing long-term health issues, such as infertility or neurological damage. We already know the globalists are playing the long game because they're trying to move everything along without anybody noticing. And if a supplement gets you super sick right off the bat, you won't keep taking it. Like, you'll stop taking it. They have to play the long game with this one because they want you to keep taking something you think is good for you while it slowly kills you. The FTC and the FDA have issued warnings about nootropic supplements being marketed with unproven claims of effectiveness for improving cognition. For instance, in 2019, the FTC and FDA sent warning letters to companies selling dietary supplements, including nootropics, for making unsubstantiated claims about treating or preventing diseases like Alzheimer's. Between 2010 and 2019, the FDA warned numerous manufacturers about the illegal status of their products as unapproved drugs with no proven safety or efficacy, alongside misleading marketing, which is a concern. In 2020, Systematic Review raised concerns about potential conflicts of interest in studies on nicotine's cognitive effects, noting that over half of studies published in 2010 had tobacco industry affiliations, often undisclosed. I say this because it's not directly related to nootropics or adaptogens, but this highlights how industry influence can contribute to distrust. I mean, we've seen it time and time again that Coke sponsors studies that say, sugar's fine for you, you're all good, don't worry about any of that. The whole time, and they're like, drink more Coke. The whole time, it's Coke that's sponsoring this study. So of course they want you to drink more of their product. So like, even if there are studies behind them, who is funding these? Is it the good guys? Is it the bad guys? Is it good guys disguised as bad guys or bad guys disguised as good guys? I don't know. But what if the adaptogens work and the conspiracies that are being spread are to convince skeptics to not take them? There is so much noise when it comes to biohacks, and we know that there are people in the conspiracy world pretending to be one of us, trying to spread the news they want us to believe, or they want us to think is a conspiracy theory, and then honestly, it's still like their agenda. This is a serious concern. Like, things that I come across in my research all the time, I'm like, is this actually a conspiracy? Is this actually something? Or is this the CIA running like a counter conspiracy theory? You know what I'm saying? That's one of the reasons I try to share all the theories I find and let you make your own decisions, because it's really hard to always differentiate between the two. So that brings us to the theory that nootropics work, specifically the synthetic ones. or the more advanced adaptogen blends, and that these blends are being used by the elites to gain a cognitive edge. We are talking high operating people, CEOs, politicians, military operatives, not the average Joe Navy who survives on like energy drinks, the high level like admirals and such, the people that are making the big decisions. Like, how can Elon Musk work the way he works while we all struggle to get through the day without falling asleep in the middle of the day? Like, we can't even focus on something for long enough to actually get something done. So they get the good stuff, and the public is either in the dark about the effects of nootropics and adaptogens, or we are given inferior versions. And this isn't completely unfounded because during the Cold War, Soviet scientists studied adaptogens like rhodiola and schisandra for military applications. They wanted to boost endurance and resilience of their soldiers. And I mean, honestly, who doesn't want that in war? I mean, up until the early 1900s, when the Rockefellers got involved in the pharmaceutical industry, doctors were prescribing adaptogens. They were prescribing more natural, like herb remedies. And many cultures have used mushrooms for healing for centuries. It's only more recently that they have been brought up as potentially not working. I think at the end of the day, it's up to you. Like I said, I have been pretty upfront with you all about my mushroom journey and all the different things that I'm trying on my health journey, and I'll continue to update you on what I'm doing. If you want to try Magic Mind performance shots, go to magicmind.com/rabbithole20. I have some other health-related rabbit holes I've been going down lately. I asked my husband recently. This is crazy. So I asked my husband if we could import our flour from Europe to try to avoid the pesticides that are sprayed on the wheat crops here in America. So we've been going down that rabbit hole. I make most of our bread from home. I've kind of been going crazy about the food we put in our bodies. It makes eating anywhere or buying groceries a real challenge. So I'll keep you updated as we go. But until next time, my friends, stay skeptical, and I will see you all then. Hey friends, The Rabbit Hole is an independent podcast with everything you hear done by me, Danny Mercy. I appreciate all of your support. Please rate and review wherever you're listening. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at rabbit.holepodcast. And thank you, Zakar Balaha, for our awesome intro.